Okay, so in the Student Support Services office, there are many of us who work there who have at some point worked or lived or studied overseas. And a few years ago, we were talking about how great an experience that was and how we wanted to help our SSS people do that as well. So we put together a little program and a presentation. So Student Support Services is part of the TRIO program. And TRIO is a federal organization. It oversees Upward Bound, Student Support Services, the McNair Scholars Program, and other programs, all of which are geared towards underrepresented populations in higher education. So our main job in Student Support Services is to help you graduate. And there are a variety of ways we do that. That's an outdated photo. We need to get a new one. But we're really there just for your benefit. So do stop by. No matter what you need, we can probably help you out or direct you to somebody who can if we can't specifically ourselves. So who can use Student Support Services? So if you look at that yellow circle, those are services that we offer that the entire student body of UWS can use. We have some counseling services. We have a math lab. The Academic Support Center is tutoring and academic support for everything but math. We do test anxiety counseling. We do resource coordination. Also, if you have a disability or anything like that, we are home to the Disability Support Services office. So if you sign up to be a Student Support Services member, that's that inner circle there. And Student Support Services members have to be either first-generation college students, so neither parent got a 4-year degree, or from a low-income background, or have a disability that is registered on campus. If you qualify for any of those, you can be a SSS member. And inside that, we do workshops like we're doing now, information sessions, we promote events, we can support people with financial aid and academic suspension, reinstatement, various things. Now, if you're receiving a Pell Grant as part of your financial aid, and I believe most UWS students do, there is money available for us to award in the form of scholarships. And we do that every year, but we set aside a chunk of that for study away funding. So from that money that we get every year, we set aside some to help Student Support Services members do a study away program. So like I mentioned, first-generation college student, come from a low-income background, or be living with a disability. You can come down to my office in Swenson 1025 and fill out a form if you're interested in doing that. This is one of our members in 2011, Mary. She actually put together an internship in India. That was an independent thing that she did. And we helped support her in that one as well. She did a really cool sustainable agriculture project. So, those scholarships, like I mentioned. When you are signed up as an SSS member, you are automatically considered for a scholarship. And the scholarships must be equal to your Pell Grant. So if you get one through our office, at minimum, you're going to get double your Pell Grant. Sometimes it's more than that. Those interested who want to study overseas, there's that bonus. And our bonus isn't going to be huge. I mean, it's not on par with the Gilman or anything like that. But it is enough that we have completely paid for students' transportation costs before, things along those lines. Here's Tim hanging out with a monk in China. So the size of these scholarships vary from year to year, and that depends on the amount of money that we get from the federal government. In 2009, 2010, we had $50,000 to give away among 160 people. The Pell amount that year was $976. So a lot of people got a lot of money that year. We got a bonus that year. It's usually not that high. In 2011, 2012, we got 31,000, almost 32,000 was the amount that we awarded, and we sent 8 SSS members overseas that year. I haven't included last year, but I believe we sent 6 people overseas last year as well. And you can check out our board outside the office down outside of Swenson 1025. We've got photos from various trips and things like that. That's Kaylee in Pisa, standing straighter than the tower. So the study away bonus also depends on funding for that year. But once we get that sorted out, I'm happy to talk about that with anybody who wants. There's a separate application form to fill out for study away funding. And for those of you who have gone before, we are fine with supporting that. But if it comes down to if we're down to the wire on money, preference goes to people who haven't gone before. But that doesn't mean that you can't get a second one. Here's Scott in Bali in 2012. So why go? And I'm glad to see that a lot of you are already enthusiastic about going. But the first one that I tell people is you'll never travel cheaper than you will when you're a college student. A lot of people are worried about money, and rightfully so. You don't want to take out too many loans and all that kind of stuff. But when I was in college, I did a semester in Ireland, and I had $2,000 in my bank account when I went over there, and I spent every red cent of it over those 3 months, 3.5 months. 3 years later, I went back to visit somebody else who was on that trip, and I had $2,000, and I spent that amount in 10 days. So it's certainly worth looking into. There are lots of experiences that you look back on and you say that, wow, that experience really changed my life. As you're living in another country, you can actually look around and see that happening at the time. So it's really a heady experience to go. And we recommend it to anyone who has the opportunity. And everybody is an ambassador. So if you're going to another country, you are a representative of the United States. You are people who you encounter will base their opinion of the United States in part on meeting you, and that gives you a lot of. That's really something cool to think about. It gives you a lot of opportunity when you're over there. Seeing things from another point of view is good for you, and that's why we're in college. We want to try and expand our minds. And I always tell my students that if you leave a class feeling exactly the same way that you did when you entered the class, something wasn't working right. Something bad happened. And I've never met anybody who came back from study away things and said, boy, I really wish I hadn't done that. I've never met anybody who came back and said, I just had a completely rotten time. And I've met people who came back who were sick the entire time. They're like, I'm still glad I went. I learned so much cool stuff. And I just like to show this one. Let's see if I can get the volume going on it. There was a guy in the early 2000s who created a video game called Destroy All Humans. And he made a lot of money off of it. And he kind of felt bad that his legacy was going to be that he invented a game where you play an alien destroying the world. So he thought, how am I going to spend my money? I don't know how many of you have seen this, but